Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast. This is episode 82 now, and this is Altai, joined this week by...
Omer,
Gumball, Matt,
Australia.
Full House.
everyone's here,
Full
boys.
House.
Like the original Full House or the remade version?
So we're not whistling the intro anymore.
Oh, that's right. We should have done that. It's the best part.
My esophagus hurts. I can't whisper. We can't whistle.
Gumby's a retired
I
musician
gotta
now.
rest.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be talking to you guys right now. This is ridiculous.
This is a dirty word.
We should replace the whistling
Esophagus?
with the harmonica.
Esophagus? I like esophagus.
That's a very dirty word.
Are you guys
What?
are you sick or something? Or...
No, I'm just talking shit.
He
Oh,
had
you're
too much
talking
penis.
shit. Oh, too much.
But anyway, I'm gonna take it away here. We're gonna start with the weekly raid as we always do. And this week concerns an interview actually with the director and producer of Final Fantasy XIV, Yoshi P. Some of you
this
Final
is gonna be
Fantasy
good.
players may know him. He made a very interesting comment, a mind-boggling comment. I'm actually going to read it word for word here, and I'll post the link to the weekly raid. Well, I'm not logged in, so I can't do that just yet. But here's the comment. The developers understand that Final Fantasy XIV's first half isn't that fun, but something they wonder about is whether it'd be a good idea to introduce complicated skills and systems to new players from the get-go. Now, I find it, a lot of players I've heard say, well, the beginning of a game isn't fun. But this is the first time I've seen a developer admit that the introductory part of their MMORPG is just plain not fun. And I'm so curious if this is widely accepted by the community, and should we accept it? Would you accept an FPS where the first level wasn't fun? Or is this unique to the MMORPG genre? So go ahead, let's take on the roundtable. Is it okay for an MMO to have boring introductory content? And we'll start with Erhan. Take it away. I'm calling out names.
All right, here we go. Well, this is just part of a longer interview by Yoshi P here, and there's a few good nuggets, but this was the money line for me, at least. And I think it kind of gets at the heart of why the genre is struggling, as some people seem to say that it is, and that is because the MMORPG genre, I feel, gets too many passes that other genres and other studios just don't get, and then that forces them to get better at their craft. And for whatever reason, MMORPGs can get away or have historically gotten away with a lot of things that they should not have been able to get away with. And one of the major ones is the whole, don't worry, the first 90% of the game is trash, it's not important. You gotta just sit there and grit your teeth for, 50 hours, 100 hours, whatever it is. And then you're allowed to have fun.
All right, I want to throw in some 2 cents too. I do think they get away with it, and it is remarkable to see the producer of one of the premier subscription-based MMORPGs today just admit straight up that it's not that fun. I mean, in his defense, he didn't say not fun. He did say it's not that fun. But I do think Final Fantasy XIV, the early experience, is a little bit better than a lot of other games, only because there is a story content for those willing to explore. So it kind of does get more of a pass than other MMORPGs. Because you do have the RPG element as well, the storytelling. It's actually pretty decent too. But I honestly, I don't know what gets people over that hurdle. I mean, I've played MMORPGs for a long time, and for the most part, it's true. It's just a lot of these games don't get fun until like at least the first 5-10 hours in. Like I don't know about the first half, but at least 10 hours in, it's not really fun. But I guess I'm used to gritting my teeth. I'm just used to it now. I've taken it from so many other games. It's when you start a game, what are you doing? You don't know what's going on. I have I have a potential solution to the problem, but I'd like to hear everybody else first before I throw out my solution.
Just to add a little bit of context first is that Yoshi P is not considered to be a bad game developer either. He's considered to be one of the better ones. So this is it's a lot more surprising to hear it from him than some rando,
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I respect him for saying this, because I think it's something that we all know as MMORPG players, right? And we've all heard the line, just stick with it, it gets better after 1,000 hours. Don't worry, trust me. So the fact that he's saying this, and the fact that, like Omar was saying, Final Fantasy XIV actually has more premium stuff, like a real story with voice acting cutscenes, and there's a real story arc going on in the main story quest in Final Fantasy XIV. A lot of MMORPGs don't bother with that, right? The story is just nonsense, and it doesn't matter at all. You just skip. So it's a good admission. I think I give him props for admitting that, and I do have a partial solution, but I want to hear your full solution first, Omar.
Let's go to Matt and Gumby first.
All right, so I just wanted to throw it out there. It depends, I guess, on the game, right? I think a bigger problem than the beginning of an MMO being boring, because I think what part of that is there are a lot of RPGs that start out with, like, they're really boring. Your combat is really basic. You don't have any abilities. I mean, it's the entire RPG genre is steeped in tradition that requires that the introduction to the game just be incredibly dull, especially in terms of combat. And I think that the reason that stands out in MMOs is a combination of most MMOs are real time, and most MMOs are mostly combat. Like, whereas traditional RPGs focus on the story more so, and you just kind of ignore the fact that the combat isn't that good and get yourself invested in the story. You don't really do that in MMOs a whole lot. But I think one of the bigger problems is that MMOs don't have, like, a whole lot of focus in terms of what they try to do. And what I mean by that is when you have a sandbox, in a lot of times in modern day, like, you have somewhere around 20 to 40 hours upwards of just grinding your way through the levels, getting to the part where you can actually take part in the sandbox. And I mean, you don't need this theme park introduction to the game. What you really need is for the game to be consistent the whole way through. And I think that would help. And I think the reason that MapleStory in particular gets a pass on the fact that all it is grinding is because all it is grinding. It's consistent the whole way through. You do the same thing over and over and over, and you know what you're in for. You're not being told, okay, I can't take part in faction PvP until level 50, even though the entire game after level 50 is faction PvP. I mean, that's what I think is a bigger issue. But
so what you're saying, Matt, is that there's no pass as far as like if the beginning is boring, like as long as it's consistent throughout, like as long as you're getting shitted on throughout, it's fine. Is what you're saying.
Well, I think he's saying if you don't like the core concept of MapleStory, right? You're not gonna like it at level 1, and you're not gonna like it at level 200. So
you'll know right away.
Yeah,
like, the game is being honest, and there's no like there's no just wait till you get to the end game, like type of a thing. It's like
you know right away.
That's true. That's true. He's right. In a game like MapleStory, it's more focused on a single, I guess.
Ragnarok Online's like that too, kind of. So I guess.
Kind of. Ragnarok does have raids and stuff, and people and War of the Imperium.
And then another point I wanted to make was, we all know when we play a game for that long that there's going to be a dull part somewhere in the middle. So I think what a lot of games that don't try to focus could do better is make sure that the opening moments are really epic. And I like when they have like a half an hour to hour-long story intro where they give you access to a bunch of skills and let you wreck a bunch of enemies and just give you a vision of what you're going to have in the future, rather than just drop you in with a dull little like, oh, hey, you have amnesia story and ask you to go do whatever random that these people that take advantage of you want you to do. I mean, if you drop people in and you show them what they can have in the future, it kind of has an effect like Metroid games where you start with everything and you have it taken away really early on, and then you're slowly building it back up, and you know what's in store for you. I mean, you're not sitting there wondering, what is this going to be like when I'm done?
Did Blade and Soul do that? There was a game that did that.
There's a few of the anime MMORPGs from X Legend that have done that. I'm not sure which Grand Fantasia. Not Grand. It was one of the X Legend games that they did. A few of them actually end up doing that. Aura Kingdom, I believe, is one of them too. But it didn't do it well. So obviously, it's not a comparison to Metroid where you actually do have everything. You just started really high level and you had a few like cool skills, but you had no time to really explore and understand those skills. So it just felt like a disjointed experience. So I do think games can do the Metroid thing better. Aura Kingdom, that's correct. That was the one.
All right. Any more thoughts on that, or should we look for solutions now?
I just want to point out, and I'm eager to hear your solutions, because I think everyone said whatever I would say. But regardless, I don't think any developer or producer should be able to look at their game and say, this is boring. Regardless of what the audience thinks, I find that to be more unacceptable than what the end product is. You should develop your game to make it as fun as you possibly can. And maybe they did, maybe they tried, but I don't think that's acceptable.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
Do you think he should lie? I think I give him props for being honest.
No, I don't mean no. He's being honest, and I think there's a paradigm, and we've kind of touched on that. That's driven the whole genre, and people have played into it. But I think this interview, if it shows that things need to change at some point soon. And so it's good to admit it and be honest. I would rather him be honest.
Okay.
But I think going forward, for the genre to thrive, to survive, to advance, you need to let go of these, whatever it is that's holding back this first half of the game, or however you want to put it. So let's get some solutions.
What's so sad about that though is like we said, Final Fantasy has a strong early game compared to like other games.
Yeah.
So this is like it's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
So,
and that's like the best example.
But again, that's only due to the focus on it channels JRPGs more in that sense, that it's very, very focused on story from the get-go rather than other games that just kind of string you along with the story.
True.
All right,
I
boys.
think the
want
problem is
solutions.
also all right. Solution. I got a solution, but solution. A lot of games, I think, they don't have objectives early on. Like obviously you have quests and stuff, right? But the biggest thing missing in a lot of MMORPGs, if not almost all MMORPGs, is an early goal, something you can strive towards. And I think the issue is, for the most part, money. Whether it's gil, whether it's mesos, whether it's gold, in almost all MMORPGs, it's pretty useless. It's basically used to upgrade your gear later on, right? Like that's all stuff later down the road. There's almost nothing early on that you want to like save for. Like I almost feel like there's never anything I really want to work towards. All I'm doing is I'm following that stupid chain, like the rail car from the train tracks, right? The game is taking me from beginning, middle to end with almost nothing for me to strive towards on my own. It's hard to explain, but like this is a pretty poor example, but I'm going to bring it out anyway. It's a non-MMORPG example. A game like Harvest Moon, right? The mechanics are pretty boring, right? Let's be real. You're literally just farming. But what made Harvest Moon fun for me is what you can look forward to. Like immediately when you go to the store, there's like higher level seeds you can save up for, a bigger house, better tools, like all these things that like viscerally and like straight up impact the game that you can aim towards. I don't think any MMORPG gives you like real useful stuff that actually changes your experience that you can aim for early on. You do have that stuff later on where you want to obtain like high-end raid loot, but nothing early on is ever like, damn, I really want to play for the extra hour so I can get that piece of gear, this extra thing in the game. Nothing has that pull for me. So
how about
from
skills and levels? I mean,
the problem is the combat is typically very like straightforward in these. Like, even Final Fantasy, as my black mage, for example, up until like level 50, even like I'm mashing like 3 buttons in Final Fantasy in my combat, and I can do it with my eyes closed, and I'll still out DPS most people. So it's a little easier in games like Blade and Soul, MapleStory, Terra, where you're more involved, right? So just levels alone, I don't think is enough because it still feels like a rail car.
Maybe they should do like the Pokemon thing and just like have early game monsters drop like sick loot that looks really cool.
Yeah.
You just keep walking around. Like in Pokemon, it's like early. It's like it seems kind of boring. You get like the shitters, right? You have like the bird and then like the rat, the weasel, whatever. But then there's like that small % chance that there's like a Pikachu in there, right? And you just walk around there for like hours trying to find it. Maybe you need something like that.
Somebody said something very, I think, useful in the chat. Maybe that's why they should bring back job advancements. And I think we mentioned this before, that job advances do act as like that mini goal you can aim towards, whether it's level 30, 60, whatever it is. It's just something that like, I really want to get to level 30. I really want to get to level 60 so I get this. It's not just a new skill. It's like a new job, a new set of skills.
New looks
I feel
too.
There's
right?
a problem with that, though. There's a
incremental
problem
goals.
with that. That interferes with the aging of MMORPGs. So, for example, currently there's a bad solution to this problem, and that's one employed by WoW, games like WoW, where you start at 100, right? Currently?
Yeah.
Because they know the old content is literally dead now, right? Like, it's worthless. So start the new content, and from what I've heard, the WoW's new expansion has a nice start.
It's great.
Each zone is like unique and has things going on. Now imagine in WoW you have to start from 1, right? Just getting to 100 where you get to experience the new stuff would probably bore to death. I'd say majority
Most new
of players.
yeah.
So, but the problem is, imagine like a game like MapleStory, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all played it recently. It's much faster level. The game clearly wants you to start the game at level 200 now, right? And it kind of experience the new stuff. I got to level 100 something in like an hour. Now imagine I had to do these intricate class change quests like a la Ragnarok, where I had to run from one place to another, collect 10 of this item, talk to this NPC. I would have quit. But instead I could just click one button on MapleStory, and then I just basically get the quest automatically. It's just a matter of talking to one guy and I'm done.
Yes, but they can always go, retroactively fix those quests, those job change quests, make them easier. That was an example of mini goals you can aim towards. That was my solution. I'm curious if anybody else has any of those solutions towards this.
My only solution is to just come up with a core gameplay loop that's fun over long periods of time. Start people out in that core gameplay loop instead of trying to introduce them slowly through some other method.
Do you have any examples of MMORPGs you think that does that well beyond like action, like non-action MMORPGs, like tab target MMORPGs that have a good, genuinely fun early experience?
I can't think of any.
I can't either. I mean, that's why
I have a long-term solution that no game has pulled off yet, but it's just my idea of how they could do it. So what's the genre that apparently everyone agrees kind of killed MMORPGs?
MOBAs.
Yeah,
Exactly,
MOBAs.
MOBAs, right? We all know. We've all heard that. And here's what I think, and here's why I think this happened. In a MOBA, there is no real level, like a meta level. Instead, if I play League of Legends, right, and I go mid, and I'm playing against somebody, if someone is better than me, they'll beat me every time, right? So it's my skill and knowledge increasing game after game. So what MMORPG have to do is ditch the level. It should be like Minecraft or Terraria or a MOBA where I jump in, and if I'm good at the game, if I've played it before, if I know where to go, I can get on equal footing with someone. No, I can basically, my character can basically is ready to go. Like I can face off against people my skill right away. I shouldn't have to do this 100 hours of grind to get a certain level for the character. Because remember, levels are just supposed to experience points, right? It was just an ad hoc way of representing progress. But it should be me as a player progressing in my skill, not my character just getting bigger numbers.
Well, MOBAs also have levels in the game, so the characters still get stronger.
That's the structure of the game, but I'm talking like anyway, get rid of levels. Basically, everyone is if I make a new character, you have a character you've been playing for 10 years. It's the same basic character. What's going to determine who wins in a fight or kills monsters better will be skill.
Well, you can't get rid of levels because that gets rid of the RPG.
No, I don't
they can coexist. Those two things can coexist.
RPG doesn't have to equal levels. I think that's
No, but you have to have progression, and just getting rid of levels
Well, why not?
altogether.
The progression could be
different items, different
questing, or depending on
questing.
like,
Exactly.
you study under something like the questing itself. You would quest to get, say, a certain skill or something.
Yeah, like questing should be a quest should be well written and fun. It
But
shouldn't be
questing doesn't define RPGs. Numbers and progressing and gaining larger numbers is what traditionally defines RPGs.
I don't think so. I think you can have different items and cosmetics and houses and like say questing story stuff, guilds, guild wars. Oh, you can have all this without levels.
All right, hold on. I got to break in here. We have a game designer with us here, so I'm gonna put Shu on the spot. From your game designing experience, all right, Shu. You worked at Riot. You made champions in League of Legends, all right? See, the rest of us is bullshitting, okay? But you can give us maybe a more thought out example. So I'm putting you on the spot, and let's see what you got, Shu. Let's see what you got for us. Fix MMOs for me. Go.
Fix MMOs. I mean, a lot of the
early experience
brought up are pretty valid. Like what Ember said, it's like there's nothing to look forward to early.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that could be worked on through, I don't know, items or it's complicated. How about give me a little bit and I'll think about something.
All right, you can come back to it.
I want to bring up one example quickly. This is not exact because like Ultima Online, someone mentioned it in chat. There were skill points still, right? But the basic gist of it was, even if I play for 1 minute or 10 years, my character in Ultima Online has 100 HP. Okay, that's it. It's not a matter of like in WoW where a level 1 will always lose to a level 50, right? It should be structured in a way where it's not the character progressing so much as you, the player, progressing through that world.
But you have that. You have MOBAs that do that. Can your idea exist in like an MMORPG environment?
So.
What about like would this conform to your idea? So let's say there's no levels, right?
There's no levels.
But let's say there's no levels, but there's a quest. It's a chain quest. It's difficult.
Okay.
You have to overcome it as a player through your skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so, basically trial and error. Some very difficult quest,
Mm-hmm.
and after you complete the quest, you get +2 strength permanently.
No.
You can't have that in your system either.
No.
Can you give us an example of what does have your because even at MOBAs they have levels and you do get stronger. Even Ultima Online, you do get strong. You have 100 HP, you gain strength, you gain stats, you gain skills. So I don't think your idea.
No, but okay, I'll tell you.
Okay.
On Ultima Online, you and me could have the same set of spells, right? But I will still lose to you 100% of the time.
Okay. Same in World of Warcraft. We could both be level 100, and
Right.
you'll
So
lose
why
every
not just
time.
start it there? And our progress is the knowledge in the game, and progress through that, rather than these numbers just going up.
As Matt said, I think you do need that sense of progression and that sense
Right,
of
but
advancement.
you guys are
Okay, I
Go
don't
ahead.
want
Go
to
ahead.
relegate my sense of progression to what gear I'm wearing and what spells I choose, and have access to all the spells basically, or find them on a tablet somewhere, and never increase my power of the spell in any way, shape, or form. Even in a system where all you do is pick up the spell and use it, you should still have a system where using the spell more increases your knowledge of the spell as a character, not just as a person.
No, I agree. And how that would work is perhaps you could specialize in certain spells, and then those get stronger, but others get weaker, and you can switch. Anyway,
But that's still a form of increasing power.
Shu, did you get a solution for us before we jump topics?
I have a thought. Do you guys feel like EXP is necessary?
no, it's not.
What if they're in a sense that sorry, I'm not saying in a way that you just automatically start at max level. I'm saying do we have to have EXP? Could we have instead gates that give you that jump in power? You still have a level, but you don't gain it through EXP. Would that be?
Anything that innovates beyond the current paradigm, where people think MMORPG equals every time I kill an orc, a number goes up. But
Yeah, put it this way, let's just use Final Fantasy as an example, right? You level through EXP in Final Fantasy, like every other MMO. But what if instead you had a milestone, you had a quest that you had to do, and when you did that, you just leveled. You don't have to worry about this EXP bar. So walking around and just randomly killing shit doesn't is not beneficial. So you don't have that whole thing going on. Do you think that's going to benefit the game or detract from the game that you can't grind?
How do you define that milestone? All it is a quest that's somewhere along the line.
It's some main story. Final Fantasy is main story, right?
But then it's just questing without being able to gain experience.
Yes.
But you can gain something else.
Though? Do we need that though? Do we need the gaining experience through?
In most games, you're not really removing anything. I mean, it's just you get experience through quests, and at best, you'd be removing certain quests or defining certain.
It's fundamentally
quest
different.
Is useful.
Though. It's fundamentally different because the way you approach the game is different. So, if you psychologically, if you are gaining EXP, you see these small trickles, right? And that's your focus. Your focus is I need to do this stuff so that those small trickles can become a full bar and I can level. Whereas the other way, your goal is some element in the story or some achievement that you finish and then you level from it. So it's actually different, despite being the same thing.
But what I'm saying is that removes all possibilities for extraneous side quests. Because no one would do them.
But what if you get other things for those?
Cosmetics, pets,
exactly.
other cool things. Yeah, other
and
things.
then that way they scale into the late game if you have that, right? Then those low level quests are the same as they're the same at high level. You can still do it at high level. It's still worth doing.
All right, I'm going to seize this conversation and just quickly steer us. We're going to talk about what we played because we were complaining about some of the these early issues, but we did play MapleStory for Sunday Fun Day. Well, not for Friday Fun Day.
Friday Fun Day.
And I do think MapleStory again is not a perfect example of a game at all of a game that fixes the early game experience, but at least I think action MMORPGs, whether it's Moo Legend, whether it's a game like MapleStory, they do approach it better because right from the get-go you don't necessarily have goals. You do have the job changes, but at least you can see other players that are really strong, and that kind of gets you playing. So I'm curious, maybe we can recap for Sean and Matt who played MapleStory. Well, Matt who played MapleStory for the first time. What you guys thought? Because I know Alta and I could gush about it forever because we are old school MapleStory fans.
I'll go first. I uninstalled MapleStory after playing. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it though. MapleStory I still think is one of the most charming games, and I think it's its charm that allows it to have some optimization issues. It's just There are other games in the market I'd rather play now. I'm not built to grind anymore like I was in my youth. But I think MapleStory is a tough one, as we discussed in Friday Fun Day. It's a tough one to recommend to somebody who never played it. It's a little too old school focused, where you are just grinding. I don't know if people are built to grind anymore. I know I'm certainly not.
All right,
Matt, what do you think?
As I had said, I don't really think it's charming. I think the art style is borderline jarring now. I basically had to turn my brain off while we played because all I did was smash the basic button because my other skills were basically useless, even upwards of level 50. So I basically just found a group and smashed the basic buttons. And I don't know. I can't do a game where all I do is grind and my entire goal is just to grind more and that there's never anything else.
But Matt, you get to have more ridiculous spells so you can grind even more.
I don't want more ridiculous spells. I want a meaningful experience.
But my meaningful experience in a game like Black Desert, which you played a lot more than I did, but I mean, every time I got stronger, got new spells, like the cool part was getting stronger so I can grind with those new abilities. Like that was the fun part for me. Like I was always looking forward to getting my next set of skills, upgrading my skills, and being able to pull even more enemies and killing them even faster. That was cool. So I feel they captured. MapleStory kind of had that as well.
Did you take part in guild really at all or PvP?
No.
It wasn't because of the spells or the skills or the grinding. It was the whole guild experience was much more engaging than a lot of the other ones, even if it had issues.
All right. Well, my experience with MapleStory. I played it originally in open beta. Took me months to get to level 30. But now they made it too easy, I think. I think they went over the border here. When Big Bang first came out, it took me around, I'd say, 8 hours on a new character to get 30. And I had
more than that. Okay, definitely more than that. We're talking a few days.
Okay, and I remember I had to read I did all the quests in that Maple Kingdom and stuff. That was the sweet spot, I think. This right here kind of felt like an absurd private server, right? I was leveling so fast, first of all, the quests were all useless, right? Mm-hmm. There was a built-in thing that teleports you to the field of your level, right?
Yep.
I think this MapleStory would have been better served to just cut all this early game stuff and make you start at level, let's say, 100 or 150. Okay? And with the proper stats, gear, and skill point allocation, where that's the beginning. And they can even introduce a little tutorial for new players at that point. I think the game will have a hard time attracting new players, not just for the optimization issues, where it keeps crashing, by the way, guys. The game still always crashes. Yeah, and that's, it's one of those cases where for a new player, they don't know what's going on. They're leaving maps too soon, right? They go there, they leave, they're somewhere else. I can't recommend it to new players.
But I mean, you want to say attracting new players, but since they launched Reboot and since they've been doing these events, since they launched the 5th job classes, the Reboot servers are absolutely packed. I mean, even I don't think
any of them are new players.
Yeah, but they brought back all those old players, right?
Yes, they're bringing back old players.
Isn't that enough though? Like that's amazing for them. Let's be real. I mean, I feel like MapleStory was very charming for its time again because we're talking 2004, where like graphically, I mean, there really weren't that many other options too. Like so, people played MapleStory. Even if they had like national TV marketing for free, like let's say they advertised to everybody, like do you think new players would just? I feel like new players just look at this and be like, no,
What, this game?
It just feels yes, it looks okay. I don't know. I just feel like people are more picky on graphics. People are more picky on graphics today, and I think this art style, even though I like it, right, because I grew up playing it, I don't think new players would be interested in this.
I don't think it's the graphics that are the barrier. I mean, look at like phone games and stuff, right?
So you think you pick somebody from high school and be like, "Yo, check out MapleStory." He's gonna look at it and be like, "No."
Well, yeah, if it's like the Call of Duty bro, he's gonna say no. But like, there's people. That was true when it first came out too. Remember, MapleStory was out. There were plenty of Counter-Strike was big, right? StarCraft was big. So it wasn't as if the average Counter-Strike bro was gonna be like, yeah, okay, cool, MapleStory. I want to play this little chibi character. So that same issue, is the same today. That's no worse today.
But those people have like other anime games they can play. Like the people that are into the cutesy like art style, they can play games like Aura Kingdom, any of these, any of the X Legend games. They have Hero Wars. They have all these other games they can play. It just feels like the art style and the way the game looks, is not. look, I love MapleStory, but I just don't see it attracting new players, like almost no matter what at this stage. I feel like no matter what MapleStory did, I'll tell you, they hired you as their CEO, all right? Their director of marketing. Could you bring in new blood to this
If
game?
I could wave my magic wand, rewrite
Okay.
the client from scratch, but same look, right? But just fluid.
Okay.
Launches fluidly, 1920 by 1080. Guys, by the way, this game's resolution is still the maximum
1366, yeah.
1366 or whatever. So that's sad. So if I could fix all that, yes, and I start the game at like I just change the quest and change the leveling system where it's 1 to 100, whatever. But crunch, so there's no useless content. Yes, I think there's no doubt that you could bring
All right.
people back.
I'm glad you're optimistic. I don't think there's much they can do. I think the best they can do is cater to their old players. I think they're doing that part decently well. But yeah, I'm level 142 only, and I'm looking forward to getting my my 5th jobs. And even though again it does slow down, but it's obviously much easier. But I'm eagerly looking forward to my 5th job class. When I do achieve that, I will do a video for it. I'm curious, Shu, have you ever played MapleStory?
No, I haven't. So I was talking about the whole.
Sure,
solution.
I'm gonna have to one night we're gonna stream just you and me playing MapleStory together on new characters because this is
I played it for I want to say 10 minutes, long time ago,
Sure, I'm gonna grab you and we're gonna play MapleStory together. All right, just you have to experience it. I feel like as a gamer, you have to listen. This is one of the most profitable MMORPGs in the world, like top 6. All right, this made more money than Dota 2 last year.
Isn't that when that one game came out, Gunbound or something? Wasn't that one MapleStory?
That was a great game too, but not by the same company.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but I'm willing to try it. And
right.
if you want, we can stream it, and I'll just give
I
my
think
entire commentary on the experience.
I think you're wasting your time. Right? There's no way she's gonna like it.
It's an experience. I don't think she's gonna like it either, but it's an experience. Right? I'll stream MapleStory with Shu one night, so you guys can all look forward to that.
When I hear everyone talk about...
I thought of something, by the way, for that. I don't know if you want to backtrack to the thing, but I thought of something. So
she's got a solution. Shu, you're gonna fix early game. Hold on. Shu is gonna definitively fix early game MMORPGs.
Guys.
Ready, set, go.
Guys, all right. So Yoshi P's issue, right? What he cited was that it's too complicated to throw somebody into a situation of having all of their max level abilities, and this is I don't know if maybe Palace of the Dead was a experiment for that, but I mean, look at how many shitters there are in that. I mean, you've done it, right? Yeah. So let me explain for people that don't know it. So Palace of the Dead's a dungeon in Final Fantasy where you start at level 1 and you increase in level very fast. So you keep leveling really fast. But the thing is so you have a lot of people trying out new classes, right? And it kind of shows in Palace of the Dead that they have no fucking clue what they're doing because they level so fast, right? Yeah. And then things spike in complexity as you level, so people are just face rolling the keyboard and dying, and their DPS is shit. This happens in that dungeon.
Because some context. Because in Palace of the Dead and Final Fantasy, you get to pick what class you want to play. So you start as level 1 of whatever class you want, and then as you progress in the dungeon, that class levels up, and you may have never played that class before, and it does get complex very quickly because you level very fast in that dungeon,
and it's
way faster
2 hours.
than normal.
2 hours to get to max. Not even 2 hours to get to max level. Maybe an hour.
That's a really cool dungeon concept, actually.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but it highlights the issue that Yoshi P was saying is that you jump into it with everything and you're confused because you don't have the experience that you build. When you're playing an MMO, right? You do multiple dungeons at different stages of your character. You grow with your character in a sense. You understand, okay, I got to do this at this time. It's through experience that you learn how to play. Because you have the mental link with your character that oh, if I press 1 it does this. Otherwise you're just oh shit, what button did I put that on again? And you're doing combos and you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
So that's a really good that's really
wow. So that was his issue, and I also have that issue as well. So I run Dungeons and Dragons a lot. It's one of the things I play it more than I play actual MMOs. And when I DM, I don't want that problem to occur in my games. So I never start characters. Even though say this is a heroic campaign where the characters are supposed to be heroes already. That's actually my recent campaigns like that. I still did not start them at the level I wanted them to start at. Instead, I started them at a lower level with an increased EXP track, so it's like a boost. I didn't follow like the books EXP curve. I did my own EXP curve where I leveled them extremely fast early. So it's like level 1, it's really simple. It's like that in MMOs as well. It's like the early game is like really, really fast, right? Because you don't have much to worry about. It's like, okay, I press 1 to do Firebolt, right? And then I have a combo into Firebolt, which I get level 3. So like, I get that fast. So pretty much it speeds them through this track. And then as they get to the more complex parts, I slam on the brakes and I slow the EXP down.
So is that your solution? Speeding it up?
Maybe that's what needs to happen is what's funny is maybe True Savior had some idea here where there's an EXP curve where like you progress through or maybe wait a minute, what if you did the job EXP thing, right? Where you change jobs, but when you change jobs it like reset your XP and then like it had that curve again. So I sorry, I'm kind of having jumbled thoughts here, but maybe Xavier was onto something, and it wasn't just some bullshit that we were thinking.
What I'm hearing back is we go back to the job system and we speed up experience. Is what I'm getting, but this isn't really a revolutionary new concept, unfortunately.
I mean, it's not, but nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing it, right? Like Final Fantasy has a job change. I mean, it keeps you on the same track in Final Fantasy's job change. So maybe that's the time required. So the tuning would be the time required for you to learn said character to progress on that track.
All right. Speaking of new games, maybe
sorry.
Let's ArcheAge. ArcheAge, for example, just launched that
ArcheAge. Say it correct. It's ArcheAge. Right?
ArcheAge. Like the comics, all right?
Like
Archie.
the comics.
Archie's. All right. Speaking of Archie,
it's actually kind of funny. They have something that's spelled ARCHEUM in the game, and I'm trying to figure out if that's supposed to be Archeum or Arkham. Yeah, I don't know.
Batman, yeah.
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knights, yeah.
Am I supposed to pronounce the E there too, or no?
All right. How is ArcheAge 3.0? Because I know, Matt, you've at least been trying to play on the
I've been trying pretty hard.
To play on the Go ahead, take it away.
If we were more consistent, I would have been streaming it by now, but I can't even get in for more than an hour at a time. I just either get DC'd or the server goes down. But yeah, I'm really liking the Dwarf starter zone. It feels kind of it's a nice introduction as far as MMOs go. Like, it's kind of lazy, laid back for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us a quick preview though? What is the patch like what it added and like what do you like?
I don't remember everything that it added. Okay, so yeah, it added the 2 new races: the Dwarves on the Noya Alliance and the Warborn on whatever the other one is called. I don't care. It's the enemy. That's it.
The enemy.
And it also added these abyssal skills that are an extra set of skills that are added to a skill tree. You can have 3 skill trees in ArcheAge for anyone that doesn't know, and each one basically represents a class with a lot less skills than a lot of other games give you. And you mix and match 3 of them at will. You can change it whenever you want, but they're each leveled individually. So if you like swap out Vitalism for Witchcraft, then you're going to have to re-level Witchcraft on its own. So you can add an abyssal skill tree to any one of those, and it'll be another extra set of skills that they say add these massive skill effects. Basically, like you're really gonna appreciate using it.
So Matt, quickly to tie things together, I want to get quick thoughts on the early experience in ArcheAge. For I don't think you've played ArcheAge before. If you did, you only played very little bit.
I played it for like 5 minutes.
So how was the early experience? Because you were able to play at least for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I've put, I think, 3 hours of actual gameplay into it. When you just start it up, it's pretty awful.
There you go. The issue continues. The issue continues.
Okay, so right now, the fresh start game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's DCing all the time, and you have queues of anywhere from... You have queues of anywhere from like an hour to like 5 hours. I heard somebody in the Discord waited 5 hours, right?
Wow.
So I'm sitting there like, every time I get in, my queue breaks. So if I'm in a queue that's larger than like 50 people, I say fuck it and I quit. because every single time the queue number breaks and it says greater than an hour, and I've waited like an hour and a half and it hasn't moved and it hasn't gotten me in, and I'm still sitting. It says 5:31 or something, and I'm like, I'm done. I quit. I'm going to Bless where the queue at least works. But once you get in past the queues, the intro experience isn't that great. You start out with every class starts with a bow and a sword and shield, and they can all use them, and none of it makes any sense because you also have your skills on top of that. And as a vitalism like starter profession, I had these magic attacks that it would just put away every single one of my weapons and start like using my hand, charge up some spell and throw it at the enemy, and it's a little weird. But on top of that, the combat doesn't feel like there's any weight to it. Like, nothing moves. Like, the screen doesn't move. There aren't really that big of effects. It's just nothing. Hold on.
But I mean, even despite all that, I mean, with the 3.0 update, it's worth mentioning too. The game has a pretty big spike in player base. If I'm looking at Steam charts right now, and it's getting about 5,000 players a day. It peaks at 5,500, and that number is at least twice as high if you include the glyph number. So, it's bringing back a lot of players on the new server. I think one of the biggest appeals of the 3.0 update is going to be that new server. Is that the reason most people are playing?
I was going to say, I don't know if you guys mentioned it till now, but yeah, the great thing about this new update is there are two, last time I checked, legacy servers now, which, well, Fresh Start, whatever you want to call them. Not legacy.
Fresh Start.
Fresh Start. The old ones are now legacy. But basically, these are new servers. Everyone starts fresh, which means, in the first 5 minutes, all the good spots for housing were taken, obviously.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm. But I do want to make one comment. I was excited. I played ArcheAge briefly. I got to like level 11 as well, around there. So I wanted to try it again. Two problems. One, I logged in on my old account, right? My existing Tryon account. Guess what? I couldn't even start on the Fresh Start servers. You have to make a new account to play on the new servers. Now, I really don't get the point of that. Because, I did. I went on the site. I made an account.
I know why, and it's going to sound really bad, and they're probably never going to admit to this. So basically, the Fresh Start servers, they didn't want anybody to be able to transfer over and bring over their old characters. They wanted to be a fresh start. There's a new rush era, as they call it, where everybody's rushing for land and everything. Mm-hmm. And what happened is, I'm 90% sure that it's a band-aid to the problem of not letting people transfer, and rather than just creating a new system where people can't transfer, they just made you make a new account so that you don't even have any characters to transfer.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess. It's a silly workaround. Yeah.
I'm gonna go conspiracy mode. Ready? They did it so that their account numbers go up. You know how games always do like 10 million accounts registered, right? They never tell you the concurrent or active players. They just tell you total players. So now they just doubled their player base on paper.
They gotta report the big numbers.
Yeah. And yet beyond the total player base, they can even say active players. You know why? Those people that made new accounts on the new server, they may even log into the other account to play on the other server with their guildmates and their friends. So now one active player becomes two active players.
Boom.
Oh,
boom.
Shit.
And maybe they're raising money from investors, and this is like the number. They got to pitch this number. Boom.
I want to say one more thing. Another bad thing Tryon did here. Okay, so Tryon obviously made Rift long ago. 10. It's a pretty old game now. They have no excuse for this awful launch. So like I was saying, I made a new account. I logged in, and guess what? Boom, queue. There's 1,000 people queue. Hours to get in. I gave up.
Well, on that point, they did add another Fresh Start server after the first time that the first one. And they've upgraded the server software or hardware since then. They've moved it to better servers or upgraded. I don't know what they did exactly, but they're on better servers now.
Why did they do that before?
Wait. But people are mad about that because it'll split the community, as Sean has brought up to me. But honestly, I don't think they added enough servers. Like I think they should have added another one after both of them had queues. I mean, what they should have done is made sure that there was enough to accommodate everyone. And then maybe once they had those servers and they started thinning out on certain servers and one of them stayed popular, then they could assess server merges or something. That's how they should have done it. Because right now, instead of having a system where eventually one of the servers is dead and the other one they need merges into another server, right now people just simply can't play, and the people aren't going to wait. I mean, they're really not going to wait a week to be able to play. The people that aren't getting to play are going to be gone, and the people that are leaving, that were leaving, opening spaces for these people to play, are going to be gone. So they should have just opened another server and assessed what to do after that.
All right, what about Gumby's theory that when you see like bots in a game or gold farmers and spammers, that the game is worth playing because there's gold farmers and spammers in the game? Does that same logic apply to queues, Gumby? If there's a queue, it means the game must be worth playing, right? Because other people are in queue with you.
The queues are totally.
It doesn't mean that. It doesn't. Yeah, the queues are artificial, one, and it never means that the game is worth playing. It means that there's a lot of people playing the game, which can be a sign that it's worth playing, right? So, because what kind of gold farmer is going to go try and sell something in I don't know, Hero Plus Online? No one. So
I guarantee there's probably gold farmers in there. Come on.
I think Erhan's right. I think the queue is artificial because there are workarounds for the queue, like more servers or
not even more servers, just better hardware and handling of the.
Oh, okay, but I'll leave that point on the side. But
Gumby, for the record, you can buy gold in Hero Online. The current going rate is 400 million gold on Hero Plus is $8.90. So I was curious, and there are gold sellers in Hero Plus. All right.
That's how you know if a game is like still relevant.
Yeah.
Gold sellers.
I guess it is.
Well,
It's a good metric.
It really is.
I haven't seen any gold sellers in ArcheAge yet. But I've seen a bunch of people trying to sell Apex, and I'm not sure if they actually can or not. Because I know one of the major points of contention is that you can sell Apex to get in-game gold, and then you can use that to buy gear. And I'm not sure if that's still a thing or not, or if people are just trolling because I haven't gotten there yet. But that may very well be a thing, and there are a lot of people that are want to sell Apex like 60 gold or something.
Actually, the gold farming thing actually reminds me of one thing. Did you guys know that? Well, at least somebody told me. I don't know if this is true or not, but like my friend told me. So that's my disclaimer. They say a lot of these Korean MMORPGs, they don't have any gold spammers in the game, because in order to gold spam, you have to make your account with your Korean social security number. So once they ban you, like they got you banned by like social security number, So they say these games, there's actually like no gold spammers in these Korean games, which is pretty crazy.
I want to take an opportunity to shit on Tryon again. I think we let him off the hook too quickly.
Oh my god.
This is This is a company with 10 years of MMORPG experience. The fact that they're having these troubles a couple days after the update of the patch, right? I can't play. I can't play the game. So it's not a new studio with like 5 guys as their first game. They're just, what is this? Like, are they mentally like incapable of like?
Blizzard has the same issue when they launch their servers. Come on, this is like
no, they have it for a day.
Issue.
They have one day.
Yeah, they have it for a day. Yes, one day they have it though.
For one day, and a couple. Like I remember Diablo 3, right? It was the last big time this happened. Actually, by the way, weren't the Legion launches like really kind of smooth?
Legion was good.
Very smooth.
Okay, you know what? They figured it out. Blizzard figured it out.
Yeah, it only took them like enough. They're worth $20 billion. Okay, when Tryon is worth $20 billion, they'll figure it out too. Like it took a company like Blizzard forever to figure.
Hold up, they won't be worth $20 billion because this is the best they can do. So what?
But every like even big companies end up with these problems. Like this is I give it a pass because the server issues for big launches and big updates have literally been plaguing the MMORPG like industry forever. It's a sign of the times. It just always is.
I was too harsh. You gave it a pass. I'm gonna give it a pass too. Since I can't play ArcheAge right now, I'm gonna pass on the game. That's it.
All right. There you go.
Like there's 100 games that are vying for my attention. I wanted to play ArcheAge. I can't. That's it. Game's done. Uninstalled.
There's a certain exclusive. Is there an exclusivity to it? Like there's a line. You gotta go through the line to be able to play, right? The queue is the VIP pass, right? It's just like there's people waiting in line. Like there must be something there. It's like imagine when you're like looking for a restaurant to eat at, right? And you see like Bob's Cafe and there's nobody there, right? And you can walk in, you can sit down, you can eat. And then there's like Remo's Cafe, and there's like a line out the door. Are you like intrigued?
I'm going to Bob's every time.
Look at that line out there. These guys must know something.
You know what I think? Suckers. I'm going to Bob's. Bob passed his health inspection. I'm going to Bob's.
Also,
all right, I'm just saying.
I know someone mentioned in chat there are like premium passes, right, for the queue.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was reading the subreddit, even people who with the premium money spend, right? Even they had a queue often.
That's bullshit. You should, if you're paying for it, you should not have a queue. That's crap.
Well, I mean, they were queued even among the paying players. There's so many of them even trying to get in. So it was pretty funny.
That's really
And-
bad.
I mean, we've been shitting on them for a while, but I just want to throw it out there that I am going to be playing ArcheAge, and I already put money in for Patron because I heard that if you want to actually play the game, you need Patron for labor because it increases the rate at which you get labor, and it also lets you regen labor offline, which is something that is really valuable right now while I'm getting kicked all the time and forced to requeue. So, yeah, I am planning to play it, and I've already put money into it. And I'm already looking at the costumes. I'm eyeing them up. Like, should I get this?
It's not me this time, Omer.
It's not. It's
Actually not that expensive. You know what I mean?
That's what I say. That's what I say.
Here's logic. It's
Except
only-
I'm actually going to stop after like one.
Okay, I'm actually gonna stop you.
Alright.
I can stop whenever I want. You know, I just choose not to.
But like, look how nice that looks.
All right.
Podcast.
It does look pretty, and also she could easily say like, "Oh, that one gacha only costs $2." You know, I just keep buying more and more.
Were you guys there when I streamed I streamed on MMOs, the FGO Gacha, dude? I rolled literally $350,
Oh my god,
and I didn't get it. I didn't get the item.
that's crazy.
I know.
Well, you know, Shu,
fucking
if
tragic.
you had been rolling gachas in China,
Oh,
you would have
transition.
known the odds.
I
Because
do know the odds. I did know the odds. That's the worst part about it. All right. All right, we're done. We're done talking about.
No, loot boxes are still a topic of discussion. Take
they
it
are,
away.
yeah. We're going to bring it right to loot box because in China actually passed a law regulating random loot boxes. Publishers have to display the odds of receiving items from a loot box now, which is pretty interesting. They're the first communist country ever in the whole world to do this. So good on you, communism.
Not just communist. I imagine it's one of the first countries.
No, I think it's everywhere. I don't think anyone else has a law like this on the books.
Yeah, I think it's one of the only countries.
I was only saying that because it's only four of them.
I remember when I streamed it on MMOs, the chat was like, "Stop! Please stop!" Shoot.
there was a chat intervention.
There was. There really was. They were like, "Stop it!" Like, shoot, come on! Like, seriously, like you need to stop. And I was like, "Guys, but I need to get. I'm so deep. I'm so deep.
The
I need
sunk
to get."
cost fallacy.
And I ended up not getting it. I should have stopped. I should have listened.
You should have listened.
I should have listened.
So, what do you guys think of this rule in China now? This law that game companies have to show you the odds for their boxes, loot crates.
That's fair. I think.
But
It's a good
if you-
rule?
Listen, I think it's a great rule for players. But even today, if you look at like slot machines and like casinos, they don't tell you the odds of getting the jackpot. They don't give you the odds for anything.
They do in Netherlands.
All right, well, they do in Netherlands, but in America they don't, and no other country has required this for
That's
game
not
companies
wrong.
to do.
That doesn't enforce it or not. That doesn't
I think
enforce the idea.
I think it's necessary.
Okay, then here's the
not a
question I'll ask.
I think people are going to be hooked more if they know that their odds are like 5%,
true, man.
for example. Like,
Good
because
point.
most people are going to start out thinking, okay, so if it's 5%, I'll get 20 and I'll definitely get it, right? Within 20, right? And then they don't. But they're like, okay, well, I still have 5% chance, 20 more, right?
Yeah.
It's just...
No, but
So
I
you're
think it's
saying
the opposite.
actually going to increase spending.
Yeah, that's
I don't think so. Because I think, if it would increase sales, I think the companies would have experimented and done it already. I think people especially the mobile games where you have to draw the hero collectors, where the 5-star, 6-star legendaries are incredibly rare. If you learn that those odds are like less than 1%, I think a lot of people will look at that and be like, "F this! I don't want. If it's less than 1%, I don't want to do this." But if they don't know the numbers, they can just keep going.
The thing, though, is I think that a lot of people look at it and they get 1 or 2 and they don't get it. And they're like, okay, my odds are a lot lower than I thought they were. And they just give up there.
But you don't think one company would have done this if they thought it would actually increase sales? Like you're saying, it would actually help sales.
I mean, that's not to say that they just didn't know, right? Like,
I mean, it's not rocket science. It's
All
like,
right, but hold
do
on.
we not show the odds?
Regardless,
Yeah.
Omer, the original question
Yeah.
is not whether or not companies can make more money. The original question is this desirable for people who play gacha? Is this good? Should we see this in America?
Here's the question. All right, the U.S. Congress is everyone is dead. It's only us 5. We're the U.S. Congress.
Oh, we're the only ones left.
We are the U.S.
Yeah,
Congress.
we're the Congress, the Senate, and the presidency. Us 5. All right,
Okay, I like it.
we're the Supreme Court, baby. Now, here's the bill before us. This exact same rule. All right, companies got to show us the odds. How do we all vote? and we'll go down the line. We'll start with me. I vote yes.
Oh.
We need this rule. Law. There ought to be a law. Remo.
All right.
Omar, go.
I say no.
Abstain. Not abstain. No.
No, not abstain. I vote no.
Okay. Gumble.
My knee-jerk reaction is no.
Okay. Matt.
I'd have to say yes.
Okay, shoot, you're the deciding vote.
Shoot, the tiebreaker.
I already knew what I was gonna say before.
Sure. The MMO industry is lobbying you. They're giving
vote
millions of dollars in
no.
your pocket.
No.
Good. Yes, they
Oh
win.
my god.
Wait, I'm
I was
shocked.
already gonna vote no before I heard everyone's thing. I'll tell you why, because it's
Okay.
not the government's. It's some political thing. It's not really. It has nothing to do with the actual
Yes,
issue.
that's
I just
holding
don't.
you back too.
I just don't think that the government.
It's not their business. It's not.
their
They have no
business.
say there. You know.
Yeah, pretty much.
But as players, I think I agree with Matt and Erhan that this is
I
by
agree
far
too.
an amazing thing for players, right? There's no doubt this is like a big win for players, but it just seems like an
player.
overreach for me. That's the only. I have my moral philosophy that's holding me back from voting yes. You know?
Same here. If I was a player, I would definitely say yes. Like, I'd say yes because that's what I want.
Yeah,
But-
that's fair. That's fair. Obviously, it's a political decision. It's not
Yeah.
just so that's fair.
But
all right,
luckily-
the nose took it. I accept my fellow judges on the Supreme Court.
We can all go to China if we want to know the odds. So shoot, next time you go to stream Fate, go to China first, and then make sure you buy your loot boxes.
Or I
in the
could just look
Glorious
at the
Republic.
odds. Or I could just look at the odds on the site because it's
Oh,
posted.
okay.
Another
Oh, never mind then.
another funny thing is I believe that once these rules are published and active in China, the companies will actually end up raising the chances for the good loot because I feel like in a lot of games the odds of winning the good shit are so astronomically low that companies will be too embarrassed to publish the real numbers. So once they're required to release numbers, they're gonna make the numbers a little bit better because they might be embarrassed by how bad it was before. This is just speculation on my part, but that's my initial thought. The number it might actually help players because of that too.
Grand Order did that. The odds were so terrible
Mhm.
for getting good stuff that they made it cheaper to roll.
Also, Matt, we can test your theory. I think we can when this law takes effect, we can look at quarter over quarter revenue for some of these games. I mean, obviously it's very hard to tell because they launch new games. That the business is growing, they change prices, but we can see if it affects quarter over quarter. And in fact, some of these companies are publicly traded in America, and they do these investor question and answer sessions. So people do ask specifics about certain games. So I'll keep my eye. I'll make sure to read those and see if we can get an actual gauge on the actual impact in the industry.
Omer, one of your concerns was that if people see the odds, they're gonna be like, I don't really want to do it anymore.
Just my guess. I mean, obviously, I don't know.
Check this out, though. What you do is you hide the odds. That's what a lot of there's a lot of odds for a game. So let's say Fake Grand Order, for example. There's odds, right? It tells you like
Mhm.
this much percent to get like an SSR rare, right?
Mhm.
And then what they'll do is there's so much shit in that small percentage pool
Mhm.
that now you're fucked because it's even lower, but it doesn't look as low. And then they do an event that says increased chance to get this character, and then
They make even more money because of that.
Exactly.
Also, I'm curious, what are the odds of getting a 6-star, like the rare, like in
Think
Fake Grand Order? Do you have any numbers in your head?
I can tell you Shadowverse.
No, Shadowverse. I know Shadowverse. They publish their odds too, which is interesting.
Fake Grand Order was damn. It's been a while. It's really low. It was like. Let me look it up. Fake Grand Order.
Well, while you look at that, we have some interesting. Speaking of pay to win and spending money on these games, we have
1%.
1%. All right. My favorite story of the week. This is by far my favorite story of the week, and I thought it was remarkable. A California man spent, get this, $1 million on Game of War.
Game of War.
$1 million! Holy crap!
There's not even any waifus in Game of War.
It's only, there is a waifu. That's wrong. There is a waifu. There is the
Kate
waifu.
Upton is the waifu,
Kate
and
Upton is the
Mariah
waifu.
Carey.
Well, not anymore, remember?
Yeah, they downgraded.
I still
They
choose to
cheapened
believe.
out.
I still choose to
Wait,
believe.
can we point out though, we didn't even get to the best part. It wasn't his $1 million. Not really.
Okay, so I'll tell the full story. So there's a guy in California. He works for some heavy equipment company, and he basically was embezzling money from the company for a couple of years. He stole a total of about $5 million, of which 1 million of it, so 20% of the money he stole, he decided the best use of it was a mobile game, a strategy game called Game of War.
I think so too, Albert.
That's crazy. That even though it's stolen money, 20% for Game of War. I mean, It's crazy.
He bought luxury cars, plastic surgery, home furniture, some like season tickets for I'm not sure that's baseball or football, but he spent money on other stuff too. But it's remarkable that like this guy was so addicted to Game of War that he spent this kind of money. I mean, the only
like custom title or something.
just it's paid. You basically spend money, you get more, troops into the building, and it's a strategy game where whoever spends the most money gets the strongest in the game. But the only reason we know about this, like the exact spending, is because this actually went to court because of the embezzlement case. I guess the company he stole the money from sued him, and in the court documents, these numbers came out. How many other players do you think spend this kind of money, non-stolen money, even in games like Game of War, in Clash of Clans, and these strategy games? Like, do you think this is like more common than we think?
I think the 7 figures is rare, but I think there's a lot of people spending 6 figures and 5 figures.
I think it's fucked up that you can not cap out at that much. Like,
There's no cap, sure. There's no cap.
Why do people play this? I mean, when you have people like that, why even play this game? Like, what are you doing with your life? It's not like Fake Run Order, where like if I roll, I get that waifu, and that waifu is like mine forever, But like,
but it's a different kind of addiction. It's not about the waifu. It's about
stomping
it's about stomping people. It's like imagine.
Hacks.
Imagine you play.
Do what all other pros do and buy hacks. Okay, go become a CS:GO pro. Buy hacks. All right.
But imagine you're playing like League, right? And this guy in the enemy team is shit talking you, right?
Yeah.
And and he's gonna win the game. But if you whip out your credit card and spend $100, you just beat him.
You mean people, like what game was that? What was that game?
Heroes Evolved. Yeah. But
Heroes Evolved.
That's like the mentality in these games that like, okay, I want to beat this guy, but I can't, right? But if I whip out my credit card, I can all of a sudden. And then you do that, and the rush feels good. And you took all his resources, you took his base, and all of a sudden, like somebody else, imagine like you played the game for a year, and you have all this cool shit, right? And you spent a couple $100, and somebody else attacks you, right? And now
who's the real loser here, really? I mean, who's the real loser here, right? It's like I would just troll people just to make them spend money at this point.
But it still requires your time to like require them to spend money. It's nuts that this stuff happens. And one funny thing too, because it's in the realm of gachas and these incredible like money sinks in these games. I was curious, because somebody brought up League of Angels earlier in the chat, and if you look at the League of Angels, how big that game is, the company that makes League of Angels is called Yuzu Interactive, right? And they're this giant Chinese company, and they publish a few of these games like League of Angels that are all very pay to win and nonsensical, I think. And that company is worth, get this, $3 billion. They're worth as much as Square Enix. League of Angels is worth as much as Square Enix. How does that make you guys feel?
Good for them.
Good for them.
All right. I don't know. It hurts me to think about that.
It keeps those assholes out of my game. Just saying.
I mean, it hurts me. It makes me feel bad. I just like a company like Square Enix, which makes all these like epic franchises and like these like almost like beautiful games in my mind, versus a company that makes League of Angels, and somebody on the chat says I want to go cry. Like it really, I don't know why. Obviously, there's no like chip off my. It doesn't mean anything to me, right? It's not my money, but how is it that like the market, the economy is rewarding people that are making these pay to win, stolen assets, garbage games? Like they literally steal assets, they do all this shady stuff, and then they're worth as much as Square Enix.
It's unfair, but I don't think
it's unfair. Yeah,
they're the same. I don't. Sorry, I don't think that they're the same market. Really, I don't think they're taking money from Square Enix. If that makes sense. I mean, it's unfair that they're doing less work to make more money, but there's a lot of that already in the world anyway. So I mean.
I see nothing wrong, and I think it's more Square's fault than anyone else's. The market is in mobile now, right? The gaming device that's most popular in the world today is the mobile phone. Over half of app spending is game spending. Okay? There are more iPhones sold in one quarter than total PS4 sold in its history so far. Okay? So
that's nuts.
What this means is if companies like Nintendo or Square Enix are kind of slow to the upkeep for mobile, and they're catching up now, it's their fault for letting the market go. You can't blame the company that capitalized on the opportunity. I think today Square not making mainstream games, their biggest games on mobile, is like them choosing to make a new game today on NES. Like making a game on PS4 today is like FF15. We just got it. Amar's been playing it. 10 years in production. It's disjointed. It took too long. The market is not there for these kind of games. They need to move to mobile.
It's not the same. Not the same market. I don't think. Because the people that want to play like that Final Fantasy, they're never gonna play League of Angels. It's just like me. I'm never gonna play League of Angels, right? Like no matter what you say, like I'll try it maybe for like a minute just to like
you play
try it.
You play mobile games. You spend a lot of money on the Fate stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's different. Fate has some production quality.
But in the end of the day, it's still a hero collector shoot. There's it's a genre of these games. It's not the same game as. It's not the same game as League of Angels, though.
At that point, maybe it's a monetization issue. I mean, I'm also, you have to understand, I'm also not the norm, right? Like,
I think
let's take Omer. Omer's a better example. Omer has like more money than all of us here, all right? And he doesn't spend shit on games. Like, I know, because I've been like, hey, Omer, let's play this new game together. He's like, how much is it? I'm like, $20. He's like, nah. Right?
That's me. I'm cheap.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I am not the norm when it comes.
You are the norm. He's the abnorm, then, if anything.
I don't think so.
Really?
Let's ask the chat. Like, how many of these people are gonna spend
money on mobile games?
Would you say that our audience is all gamers? They're all gamers,
yes.
Right? Would you like? I mean, I want to see how many of you guys in the chat are gonna
spend a straw poll right now.
Are gonna spend $400 on Fate Grand Order? Okay.
Don't give me the 400 number.
Okay, 50. I'm gonna spend 50.
Fine. Would you
50 or 50?
Okay, so that's fair. Here's a question. Do you see yourself spending $50 a year on mobile gaming? And I think for the most people, the answer will be yes.
On a single game. On a single game.
Fine.
I could.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that. In fact, I did.
I haven't
Pokemon Go.
I haven't gotten hooked on a mobile game like that, but I could very easily do it. I don't know. I pride myself on having spent $80 of League of Angels currency that I didn't actually buy.
Wait, what?
You get a ton of currency for free if you play consistently.
Oh, nice. Doesn't count though.
Doesn't count.
So while people, I put a straw poll out. People could vote on there. It'd be great. And just put some context to what Altai said earlier. PS4 sales recently hit 50 million, and in the Q4 of 2016, this latest quarter, Apple is expected to sell 74 million iPhones in 3 months. Now we're comparing PS4 lifetime sales of 50 million to a mere 3 months for Apple. Apple is selling more iPhones in 1 quarter than Sony has sold PS4s by 50% more in their lifetime. And let's be real, mobile devices are gaming devices because half of all app revenue is literally games. So it is a comparison because they are gaming devices.
Yeah, I hate when people say, "Well, phones aren't like for gamers." Well, guess what? What people spend their money on their phone are games, whether you like it personally or not. Like, look at this guy; he spent $1 million.
Interestingly enough, I do want to say that number. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
An easy way to put it is that an easy way to kind of counter that a little bit is that consoles are kind of at their highest adoption that they've ever been at. And the reason that I think that mobile gaming took off the way it did is because everybody already had a phone. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a phone. I mean, it's very uncommon to find someone that genuinely doesn't have a phone. And so mobile gaming was able to take off because it had the market that already was established, whereas consoles have to take over the market for themselves.
Well, remember, I'm not talking about consoles. I'm talking about the software writers. So a company like Square Enix. What excuse do they have?
No, I'm just saying the comparison.
Yeah. And my argument here, in the end of the day, is I think these consoles are going to go away for this reason. We already have a gadget in our pockets that plays games fine. We don't need multiple gadgets to do the same thing.
They don't necessarily do the same thing. PS4 game has a different interface and is you could do different things. We could do more things on it because you're not restricted by the size of the phone, the UI of the phone.
But I mean,
go ahead.
Another counter to that is a lot of mobile devices actually have higher resolutions than even a lot of people's computers.
Yep.
So I mean, that's not really as much of an issue as you think it is.
And one last thing I want to touch before we get too far away from the initial topic of the guy spending $1 million. I do think this is more common than people think. That even like, for example, we on MMOs.com, we get 50% revenue share on this one game by Plarium. It's called Sparta. It's some strategy game that plays almost exactly like Game of War. So we send people to them. If they sign up from our website, we get half the revenue. So because of that, we have a tracking system that we can see how many people are spending, like what kind of money people spend. We've had one user that spent like $5,000. No, my bad. He spent $10,000 because we got half of that. So we made $4,000 off his spending. But the guy spent $10,000 on Sparta. It's a browser-based strategy game. I mean, God bless. He wants to spend money. We make money off it, but people do spend this kind of money, and I don't think it's that uncommon. I think you get like 20 paying members. One of them might be a whale. Like 25 paying members, I think one of those will spend thousands. Maybe if you get 100 paying members, one of them will spend over 10,000, 20,000. 1,000 paying members, someone's gonna spend like 100 grand or more. These games are made to be addictive. Like these games are. There are so many games like Game of War for a reason. Like it's mind-boggling if you look at the App Store, you look on browser games like Evany, like Game of War, all these strategy games. There are just so many of them, and the only way it makes sense is they print money. That's why we see so many of them.
All right. Well, we know our audience now. To straw poll, I'd say only about a third of people watching participated, but it's looking like the split is 25-75. So most people here would not spend $50 on a mobile game. So there's that.
But they say that, but will they? That's the thing too. Nobody wants to admit that they spent money on Candy Crush or something else.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Everyone I've talked to, right? I'm like, I see them playing Candy Crush a couple of years ago. I'm like, did he spend money? They say, no, not me. Haha. Literally everyone I've asked said, I've never spent money on Candy Crush. But it's making millions of dollars a day. So somebody's spending this money.
Well, I mean, you have to understand that your friends are probably like, our type of gamer, which isn't gonna spend money and is gonna look like an idiot if they do.
Yeah.
But I would honestly like Alte, if you consistently spent money on Candy Crush, I'd raise an eyebrow at you. I'd say that guy is a little questionable.
I wouldn't blame you. but that's my point, though. The people that say no are clearly, some of them are lying because they're embarrassed, right? That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it is an anonymous poll over here, so then again, they probably won't be lying. But also, people don't always intend on spending it. Like when they say, "Do you see yourself?" Unless they might say, no right now, but they might find a game they enjoy, and then boom, they drop $50 because it's easy to spend $50. If you look at the App Store, it's interesting because they always say what is the most selling product in game, right? And it's remarkable. If you look at these mobile games, the best selling items are the $99.99 packages of gems and in-game currency. Like the $10 purchases are usually not the most common. The most common purchases are the
best. It's the
yes, they give you the most bang for the buck. Yeah, but that's crazy that people are okay with spending that kind of money.
It's more of a, if you're gonna do it anyway, you might as well
go big or go home.
Get the best value for it, and then not spend for a while. That's how I see it. But to go further on like what you said, I did not expect to spend money on Fate Grand Order. So what happened when I got into that game is Mommy and my other friends were playing it, right? They played it for like a good 3 months, and I was like, fuck that mobile shit, right? Anyway, so I don't know, we got back into Fate, Fate, because we started playing like a D&D Fate campaign, and then I was like, oh man, like Fate Grand Order, like let's like Fate, I get my Fate fix, right? So I was like, I'll play whatever, right? And then I started spending money because of the characters that came. I was like, man, I really want that character. So I didn't expect to spend money, and it just turned into that.
That's how they get you.
Based on the characters.
Okay, one final thing on mobile before we move on. I think in a day or two, Nintendo's first in-house mobile game is coming out. Super Mario Run. It's gonna retail. It's not gonna be free to play. It's at $10, but there will be a free demo of sorts, like a few levels. So $10 for the full version. Right now it's gonna be iPhone only. Is anyone here or anyone in chat going to be buying this? I personally will buy it. I have an iPhone. I don't play too many games on it. I know, and I kind of like the fact that Nintendo's being kind of honest with this. I can pay $10 once and I get the game. Right? I don't have to spend $10,000 million on Game of War, and
there's a free version of the Super Mario Run too. There's gonna be a light version, and you can test it out. I think
it's like a demo. It's like a first few levels or something.
I'll play the demo and see if it's up our alley first.
Yeah. I'm gonna play the demo first, obviously, because it's right there in the App Store. All right. That was it.
Actually, one thing that really also caught my eye this last week, WebZen, the guys behind Moo Legend, we did do a Sunday Fun Day for, and I think we were talking earlier in the podcast too about the early experience. I think we can all agree that I think the early experience for Mu Legend was pretty solid. Like from the get go, you just felt like you were having fun. And action MMORPGs kind of get a pass on that one, I think, because the games are built around the gameplay. But if you look at the infographic on that page, it shows you they released a neat little infographic how people played the game. But there's one money shot number in there that I thought was really interesting. First of all, the next closed beta is set to begin sometime in early 2017. So we still have to wait a little while to play the game. But the cool stat was 7% of the people that played the closed beta reached max level, which I thought was pretty incredible because it's a closed beta. You know, I don't like investing time into closed betas because I'm going to get wiped and I got to do it all over again. But apparently, you know, a lot of people think otherwise. You know, 7% of players, it's not like 1%, 2%. A full 7% decided to reach max level in closed beta just to get wiped again. And I'm curious, have any of you reached max level in a closed beta?
No.
I have not myself. No, and I've played so many of these games, and I never think about playing that long in closed beta.
I'm impressed. And I was impressed by Mu Legends, but when I heard you say the second closed beta starting soon,
yeah,
I think they gotta wrap this up and launch an open beta.
Well, it's not launched in Korea either.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta whatever it is, they gotta hurry up before people lose interest. You know, we got the Christmas time coming out, lots of big games, lots of big updates coming out. You know, they gotta step on it.
Have you ever heard the saying that in game development, the last 10% is 90% of the work?
But you can always
that
launch
sounds about
now.
right.
But have you ever heard ship and then like ship what you got, then improve?
Or don't let perfection be the enemy of the good enough. But no, I think
Have
I
you
agree
heard
with
of
Matt on
early
this one.
access, guys? So you heard of early...
I prefer pre-early access. All right.
I like open beta. That's my other favorite.
I think it's got a lot of optimization. They need to fix
That's true.
optimization before they launch. I mean, they desperately need to fix optimization. My computer, even though the processor is aging, is still much higher end than most people's computers. And when everybody was doing their effects in that little dungeon we did that was in the circular elevator type thing, and there were a bunch of enemies, it came down to like 15 frames per second at one.
I think we were all suffering.
I think I was the only one not lagging during that.
I lagged as well.
Yeah.
I lagged as well.
So
And I have a brain, almost, I think, last gen i7.
Yeah, it must have been some kind of software conflict because Amar and I have like similar computers. Yeah.
I think they need to fix that before they even think about launching.
All right.
I mean, I think it's okay to take their time and get it right, especially because it's not already out in Korea. It just feels kind of lame if they release it in Korea and then the Western market has to wait like a year or like 2 years to play it. Blitzel, you know? If they pull that bullshit, I agree with you. They got to rush that already. But just because we got a taste of it doesn't mean we have to play it right away. You know, it's better that they spend that last 10% perfecting it, making a better game, because I think we all agree that the first like hour is literally we're going to make our snap judgment right away. And if that early experience, we have any issues and it's not perfect, because we have so many other options, like we're just going to switch games. You know, you said with ArcheAge, you couldn't get in, right? And that's done. You know, you're done with the game because you couldn't get in. And you have all these other games to play. So how can you tell these guys to rush their game out when they might run into the same issue? They don't want to lose you, you know. They want you to play it and then get in.
And I mean, ARPGs are kind of a dying genre in general. I mean, they've been dying for a long time, and I mean, we've had a resurgence of them in the MMO world recently, but the ARPG audience will be there when Mu Legend is ready to release because there aren't that many games for them to play.
And it's fun early on. That's a very key part. That's why ARPGs got that going for it.
And actually, there was another ARPG you were streaming earlier today, right, Matt? What was that all about?
Yeah, okay, so Guardians of Ember. It is created by Runewaker, the creators of both Runes of Magic and Dragon's Prophet. And almost every time that I have made this statement, I have forgotten Dragon's Prophet almost every single time. Anyways, so it's kind of a lot like the whole experience with Mu Legend. You have the open world zones that people can meet up with each other and kind of interact, and it has kill sharing, so you can just AoE the shit out of everything and you don't have to worry about it because anyone that gets hit in will get experience benefits from it. It has dungeons that are so far pretty simple. Actually, a little disappointed in terms of ARPG dungeons, but I mean, I don't think it's quite as disappointing as Devilian, but it's very much an ARPG. And I'm playing an engineer, and one of my very first basic attack, right? It shoots like a magic projectile either out of a gun or a crossbow or a bow, and whatever it hits, it explodes. It just immediately explodes and gets everything in the area. That's straight up ARPG from the get-go. I don't know. It feels a lot like Mu Legend if it were a Western game. I mean, even though it's a Taiwanese developer, it is a very, very Western feeling game.
Wow.
Like,
and
I don't really know how to describe it.
I checked the Steam store after I saw you playing it, and this game costs money. So is that just during the early access, or is it going to cost money?
I wish I could tell you that. They say on the Steam store page that they don't know what they're going to be doing as far as the business model, but I'm 90% sure what they're actually saying when they say that they don't know what they're doing with the business model in the long term is that they're going to adjust the cash shop as necessary. I'm 90% sure that's what they're doing.
Isn't it funny?
So I think it's going to cost money.
Isn't it funny that a game can charge money on Steam and then say, we're not sure if we're going to be charging money later, but for now, here, take my money. Give us your money.
It's
Being
smart.
honest.
It's a
At least
smart
they're being
business
honest.
decision. Yeah, it's a very smart business decision because you capture the hardcore market and then you get the mass market later. People don't want to play it right away. But I honestly think if this charges money, it's gonna be dead in water. I mean, the game could be good, but if it's not excellent, if it's not like literally like amazing, you have Mu Legend, which I think a lot of people played and they enjoyed. You have Lineage Eternal eventually, Lost Ark eventually, but like people are hyped for these ARPGs that I hope they don't charge money on launch. I really hope.
But I mean, at least it's playable. You listed 3 games that literally we have TBD in terms of when
Lost Ark. Yeah, Lost Ark was playable in beta, but the second beta closed beta is starting real soon too. But yeah, you're right.
But even
you have Diablo
Mu,
3 as well, and Path of Exile. These other games too.
Path of
Well,
Exile's a
no,
little
you
different.
say that you say that people aren't gonna pay for it, right? And that it's not gonna have people playing. Just today on launch day, it had 922 concurrent users. Checked.
Now,
Yeah.
are we sure those are paying users? Was there like a free key giveaway event or something?
No, there was no free key giveaway.
Because I know we did a giveaway.
Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Well, no, we didn't do a giveaway. We did a discount.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did a giveaway for a game called Inter Shelter, which is a buy-to-play game. We gave away 10,000 keys, right? But like it cost money on Steam, but we gave away keys for free, and that kind of cheated the numbers a little bit. But yeah, the numbers are very impressive. 500. It peaked at 1,100 players today. So for an action RPG that's not very well known, to get 1,100 players that potentially paid money to play, and it's $17 right now on Steam. That's currently with a 15% sale. It's pretty impressive. So I stand corrected. People are playing.
It came out of the gates like Tiger Knight. None of us knew what it was really, other than like some vague rumblings, and it just took off anyways. But I think one of the weirdest things about this game, if on screen right now is the skills menu. All 3 of those skills on the left side are basic skills. You can only have one of them at a time equipped to your left click, and that is a weird skill system. I haven't gotten used to it yet, but you basically build it based on skills that you are given for your basic, your secondary, and then you have another set of 4 skills that you can assign based on when you get the skills, and then you can upgrade them with various buffs with skill points. But you unlock all the skills directly. It's weird.
All right,
The price barrier is still holding me away.
Mu Legends or Guardians of Ember?
Yeah, Matt's played both, so he's our.
One of them you got to condemn.
Well, Guardians of Ember is playable.
Oh
no!
Right now.
Forget the playable part. Let's say it's out. Okay, let's say Mu Legend came out as it was before.
Yeah, and that's a good preface. Let's say Mu Legends came into open beta exactly how closed beta performed, same content. Which one?
And you had to play. You had to pay to play this one because you don't get a free copy.
Long term, I don't know because I don't know how the end of them are. But immediately off the bat, Guardians of Ember feels nicer to play. I can't describe to you why, but it feels nicer to play.
All right. Which one did you have more fun with in the first 2 hours?
I think probably Mu Legend, but the reason for that is because of the absurd AoEs.
Last
right
question.
Off the bat.
Last question. you have two buttons in front of you. Okay, the Moon Legend button and the Guardians of Ember button. Okay, if you pick Guardians of Ember, you condemn the entire WebZen team to death. And they're all dead and the game never comes out, all right? You click Moon Legend, you condemn the entire Guardians of Ember team to death. Which one do you pick?
Wow, that's unfair.
No, it's dark, but you got to answer. I'm putting you on the spot.
What the fuck?
Matt, you got to kill one team.
I condemn myself to death by
you
not
have to
pressing the
pick.
button.
If you pick
What
no
a-
button, they both die.
What a
They both die.
what a
Both developers
noble
die.
decision.
It's a modern day industry relevant Sophie's choice. So go ahead.
Matt, you got to pick. I'm putting you on the spot.
Wow. Okay. So
No one's going to judge you. It's a silly question, so don't feel too bad.
I'm trying to decide. Oh my god.
No searching which company has less employees, so you want to do the least
No,
harm
I'm
to
not.
people?
I'm,
all right.
I'm thinking. Oh my god.
Somebody said
I
save
don't know.
Moo.
I really don't know.
You will condemn them both to death if you don't pick in 5, 4, 3,
All right. I guess
Two.
the mood. I don't know.
1. Oh, Matt, you just killed both. They're both dead.
I said I
Everyone's
guess
dead.
the mood team.
Okay, you save the Moo team or you kill the Moo team?
Kill them. I still.
Okay, they're all dead.
I have an answer. I haven't played Guardians, but I'll tell you why I'm going to pick this. I would pick the Moo team because I hate those stupid wings. Give me an option to turn those wings off, but you deserve what you get because of those wings.
Okay,
Alright?
better question. Shu, as somebody who has not played either game,
All right.
which one do you prefer?
I prefer.
See, Shu is the least biased. She hasn't even
Moo.
seen either game. She's the
Moo?
most
Keep it
most you
personal.
know.
That's it. Call me.
Moo has a
Alright.
better name,
Okay,
Moo.
Moo.
so I mean it's catchy, right? Moo,
Yeah.
moo.
Moo.
You know?
Moo, save the cows. All right. Let's take
Oh,
it.
whoa, wait. Which? Where are the developers from each game from?
Taiwan first, South Korea.
Oh, I'm going with South Korea.
That's Moo.
All right, Shu racist confirmed.
Easy choice.
Shu racist confirmed. All right, yeah.
I wanted to point out this past week, Bless Online opened their open beta doors, but only in Russia, not in America, because Area Games has been, silent. And I have been playing Bless. I didn't get to bring this up before, and it's a rather fun, polished tab targeting MMORPG. And I feel like the Russian voices fit the game so well, so I don't even need Area Games to publish the Western version.
I
But
know.
it's been very popular too.
Yeah.
Although
Cues.
they're queues, yeah, which
There are
is kind of
queues.
shocking.
I don't like
Actually, the game was so popular that 101XP, who's the Russian publisher, had to put an IP block up on the day it launched in open beta. Originally, there was no IP block; everyone could play. But there was so much global interest, they had to make sure that actual Russians could play the game. So if you want to play, you need to have a VPN to bypass the cheat engine or cheat detector, and then you can turn it right off and play. And it's
Which
also
they,
it's rather pretty.
They do encourage it. They do
They encourage-
encourage you to use a VPN if you want to play.
That's pretty funny. That even though the publisher required them to a developer required them to have IP restrictions, they tell you to use VPN. And the news here too is that before there was no IP blocks, they did add the IP block for the open beta launch. But luckily, it's not that hard to get around IP blocks. There's a great article on MMOs.com how to do so. So definitely check that out if you actually want to play Bless.
And having played both the Korean and the Russian versions, I just want to throw it out there. I agree with Sean that immediately the moment one of them started talking in the Russian version, I'm like, damn, this fits so much
They
better
don't
than the
look
Korean
Russian.
voices. Yeah,
Every character looks Russian. It was made for
I
Russia.
mean, at worst, they look Italian. You know what I mean? They're still
yeah.
some-
The thing. Here's what Bless. The best summary for Bless, I think, is it's a Korean developed game, right?
Mhm.
But they clearly took Western fantasy and Western fantasy architecture and Roman architecture, at least from what I've seen, as their inspiration. So it's cool. You have this environment in this world that's basically a Westernized fantasy world, but through the eyes of a Korean development team. And it ends up giving a very cool aesthetic to it. And I really feel engaged by the world. I even want to say that while it maybe doesn't have the same fidelity as Black Desert, it's an overall nicer and prettier fantasy themed world than Black Desert was.
Wow.
There's far more variety. Actually, even the Elvish zone takes its cue right from Lord of the Rings, and it's really neat to see. So,
All right, Gumby, I have to ask you and Matt a question, all right? Because I feel like most of the time when I play a game, like within the first like few hours, I can tell right away, like I have a general idea if the game will be successful or not. All right? I feel like I got a decent nose for it. It's not 100%, but I got like that 80% nose I can tell if it's going to be successful. From your first few hours, do you think Blessed will be successful? Financially successful?
So I think so, but
Okay.
it comes with a caveat, and it's what I've heard killed the Korean version is that the end game was supposed to start at level 60, but they launched with a level cap of like level 40 or 45. So they didn't have a real end game, basically.
There's that word.
And that's what ended up killing it in Korea. So with the caveat that they end up properly implementing the end game, I think it could be really successful. I mean, I've been really enjoying the combat, and while it's not an exact one-to-one, the assassin has been reminding me a lot of Blade and Soul's assassin, just in terms of pacing and some of the overall feel. I mean, and they've done that with something that's primarily tab targeting rather than primarily action.
Yeah, that's good.
I have an important question though. Do you feel blessed when you play it?
That's a great question. Gummy, Matt?
Do I feel blessed? No. I feel like I don't need to be blessed, right? I seize the moment on my
Gummy,
own.
Oh,
Gummy.
damn.
Gummy, I need a number from a scale of 1 to 10, all right? 1 being going to church on Sundays, and 10 being killing heretics. Where do you stand?
Do I really need to answer this?
Of course.
10 killing heretics.
Okay, Gummy's killing heretics. He feels that blessed.
God, it's obvious. Sanctioned by God himself. Before we get too off track, I
I had a fun
want to
game
point
today.
out to
Go
our
ahead.
audience. Did we about to take it away?
No, take it.
Okay. I want to point out to our audience that Gigantic, Motiga's long-awaited MOBA-esque game is in open beta, and you can play for free. You don't need a key or anything. You can go to the Windows 10 store.
Whoa,
You need to have Windows 10.
One last
What?
thing before I'm blessed. This will be the game we are playing this Friday
yes.
for Friday MMORPG Fun Day. Hashtag working title. So we will all be. If you guys want to see this game in action, see the new player experience, Friday same time as our podcast on Sunday Fun Day, you can watch us play Blessed. All right, that's all.
Watch us kill heretics. Continue.
Watch us kill heretics, no problem. And by heretics, I mean kobolds and hamsters. The number of cute animals you kill in Bless is a bit appalling, but that's all right.
Tragic.
Anyway, it's a little tragic. It's like every MMORPG is the opposite of PETA. But anyway,
But you can also catch them.
That's true, but I just kill them.
You can
because of
enslave them.
The
So what's better,
bloodlust.
enslavement or death? All right. All right, take it.
Gigantic. So go ahead and play Gigantic. That's all I was getting at. Go play Gigantic. Matt, I know, has streamed it a bit. I think we played it for Sunday Fun Day. We even had a developer in the stream, and I rather enjoyed it. Will it
That
compete?
wasn't
I don't know. Still.
Gigantic.
Yeah,
That was
we had
Overpower.
No, that was gigantic.
someone in for
No, we
Gigantic.
had a developer for
Oh,
gigantic.
right. And you meant in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh.
meant. Sorry. Forgot. I got to clarify. I haven't been doing a good job about that.
No, you haven't.
No,
I'm actually
sorry.
looking forward to playing this again because I know one of our buddies who hangs out on Discord, Hasami, he plays and he was streaming it earlier too. So I know Matt plays as well. Maybe us three can play it one time because it's not a game I would play solo, but if I can get some buddies to play with me, I'd be down. So
Yeah,
hitting up Matt and Hasami.
So here's a
I
question.
streamed 4 days in a row. I'm hooked on it.
Wow.
Oh wow.
I'm surprised to hear that because you're not a big mobile guy either.
You say even though I put 24 hours in a hyper universe in the first week.
I mean, 24 hours in mobile talk is like what?
He's like, you still,
like-
you still learning to walk.
like
you got
like
training.
tutorials?
You got the
I
training
work for a living, damn you.
If I look at my hours played on League and Dota combined, it's too much.
So here's the
It's too
question
much.
then. We all played both of these. Gigantic or Paragon? Paragon.
Yeah, Paragon.
Paragon.
Paragoozle.
Paragoozle.
Which one would you pick to play?
Gigantic. Done.
Really? Okay.
Gigantic.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
Omar?
Okay, having played literally like 2 rounds of Paragon
Yeah.
and 2 rounds of Gigantic, right?
Yeah.
I had more fun in my 2 rounds of Paragon. Okay, but however, it's Gigantic might have more potential, which I'm gonna play again. But though based on those 2 rounds I played, I had more fun in Paragon. But again, that's only I only play 2 rounds of each. So a caveat.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
I think Gigantic's art style has a lot going for it.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Erhan, you have an answer to your own question?
Yeah, I was gonna go with Paragon as well.
No, it's funny. It's funny. I wonder if that just has to do with you guys are big fans of the traditional MOBAs, Dota 2, League of Legends, and maybe that's what it boils down to. It's more familiar because Gigantic, it does, it has its own little twists and stuff, and it can be a little confusing at first. But I think in the end, that's what made it more appealing to me.
Gigantic, the one issue I had with it when playing it was
Mm-hmm.
the attacks didn't feel like I was swinging and hitting, like a melee attacks, for example, from from a longer distance than felt like something felt off about the distance of attacks. Like I don't know.
I think they've altered that
Oh, did they?
because I haven't had that disconnect with a single character yet.
Like I'm fine with having long distance melee weapons like a pole like a pole arm or something, right? But when I'm swinging my daggers and the guy is like 20 feet ahead of me and he's getting hit, or vice versa, it just feels strange.
That sounds like lag.
They're psychic daggers.
Psychic daggers, boys.
No, that's fair.
Speaking of games like Paragon, like Gigantic, another game that has I think a beautiful style. I wanted to mention this earlier because I think it did tie in very well with our previous discussion about the games that don't fit the traditional MMORPG mold. Peria Chronicles. We can finally get some gameplay information about it since the remake was announced. This is still a game that's coming soon. I don't think there's a release date just yet. But I mean, having looked at the key points in a recent interview, one thing really caught my eye over here because 2P translated the interview and they said Peria Chronicles is nothing like Mabinogi. However, it's the game plays more like Minecraft. And Minecraft was a good, it's best compared to Minecraft. So it's an MMORPG, and there's combat mechanics that you'd have in an MMORPG, and they're comparing it to Minecraft. So it's going to be more of a sandbox style game, and most of the content is going to be player made. So I think it is living up to some of its previous ambitions of having almost all player made content. Because after they announced the remake, we didn't know what was going to happen. But how do you guys feel about their ambition and what kind of game it is? Are you guys hopeful at all?
Yes, I'm very hopeful. I think
I'm
Minecraft
scared.
is the future. The Minecraft kind of concept is the future of MMORPGs if there's a future. And it kind of wraps up to what we were saying earlier at the beginning of the podcast about, at least what I was saying about levels. Levels are a bad way to show progression. It's a very old way. It's stale. Everyone's been through that a bajillion times. With a game like Minecraft, or I guess what this game is trying to be, what Perry is trying to be, the player makes his own story. They're part of the story. They show progression through their experience in the game rather than points telling them how far they've experienced it. It's a great idea. Top notch.
I'm happy just to see novelty. They're trying to do something different. By the way, we should point out the combat won't be like Minecraft. As a little aside, the combat is still its own card system thing that still is a work in progress, as they mentioned. They mentioned in the interview that's a work in progress. It's not the final product, but I am definitely more excited now. My interest has peaked with the last interview because I expected something more formulaic after we had heard they went back to the drawing board, and now I see that they are trying to definitely differentiate themselves. And no matter what, when it does release, based on this interview, it's definitely gonna stand out.
Yep,
for sure. And I think it's gonna garner a lot of interest just by being so different from what we've seen so far.
And being so cute.
Yeah,
And
what do you
cute,
think
yeah.
about it? Does it look beautiful? Look how
Hey,
gorgeous,
man,
pretty it looks.
I've wanted this game since the very, very first trailer came out. So
Yeah, so I'm glad you're excited too. It looks gorgeous, and I think after they announced they're going to go back to the drawing board, I was like, okay, forget it. It's gonna be another formulaic nonsense, But no, that they're preserving what people were excited about. So I'm mega hype.
I don't know. Hearing that players are going to have control over most of the content that I interact with scares me.
You know what's the most interesting thing from the interview is? I don't know. Maybe you guys can have an opinion on this. Your UI. You can customize your UI, right? But based on the Google Translate interview, which I used to 2P, you actually have to defeat monsters to get parts to customize your UI. So you're not just given the option
What?
right
That's
off the
awesome.
bat. It's very and you can trade UI parts with other players. So I imagine you get double parts. If you want to customize your UI, you have to communicate with other players and trade your parts with others. And It's very odd.
I think it's beautiful. This is what the genre needs.
Mhm.
New blood.
Okay. That's an interesting idea,
It's like
but
fourth
like
wall breaking.
it depends what they're doing with it, right? So if you start out with the worst UI known to man,
Well,
you're gonna quit before you get any of those UI parts.
No, you start
I
with.
mean,
I would assume you start with a very basic UI, not a
Yeah,
bad.
not bad.
what if you start with no chat? Okay, let's throw this out there.
they couldn't do
What
that.
if you start with no chat?
That's.
I think what they mean that is like there will be a basic foundation for say how combat functions, and then you'll get these UI elements that allow you to change the way you actually engage with combat. That's what I took away from it. That you will have all these basics, and then you're able to enhance it almost like a MySpace page without all the.
How
So
great
it's
is
just
it? How great is
buttons
it
that you
that we are
unlock?
literally talking about this, right? And we don't know, right?
We don't know.
That's what we need. There's so many games today coming out where I can tell you what's going to happen. Ready? You're level 1, you make a warrior. You kill 5 rats, you get to level 2, you go down the road. You know, you the first guy gives you your first fireball spell. You know, you go down the road, you kill some wolves. You know,
Whoa, you're a warrior. You get the fireball spell.
like,
Shoot, caught you. Got him.
my point is so
Gotcha.
so many of these games, right, are so formulaic. Like even ArcheAge, right, is a little different than normal.
ArcheAge.
ArcheAge. Can you get it
But
right?
I already know the gist of what I'm going to be doing, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. I'm tired. I've been doing that for 15 years. I'm tired of that.
All right. Yeah, I agree completely with my brother, obviously, because I want something different. And another line that was interesting to me: combat is not the game's focus. We talked about, can MMORPGs exist without combat in a previous weekly raid, and seeing an MMORPG like combat is a part of the game. There's a whole card system for it, and we could see some of the combat in the trailer. But it's awesome to see like a game that relies on player-made content where combat is not the main focus, and it's going to be an MMO. And that's just it's interesting to me because I'm so tired of the same nonsense. So God bless. Hopefully, even if it crashes and burns, at least it's trying something different. It may be a very risky maneuver because people do the same old shit over and over again because it works. It's a risky venture, and I guess God bless Nexon for publishing it.
So why do you guys think I play D&D now? It's just because it's all boring.
There
All
you go.
MMOs, they're all boring.
God bless. You guys get it? Bless.
Aha!
So, my prediction is, even if this does well in South Korea, it's never going to the U.S.
My prediction. I'm optimistic. My prediction is this is gonna be a big game. I could be wrong, but I'm confident. I believe.
I don't
think-
know. I'm
Yeah, I'm worried too
I'm
because
saying-
it's too niche maybe. Well, we'll see what it is when it's released, but
In my mind, this is between Mabinogi and Minecraft. Like not nothing like either, but in between, where you have
Well,
MMORPG elements, but then Minecraft style players do everything.
I say why not just do an international release?
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy. Like why not? Like, well, why limit yourself? In your market.
Well, I've got two core thoughts about this. One, okay, so UIs are pretty bad, and a lot of times we have to make use of like third-party UIs. But if they don't exist, that's one thing. But knowing that like something that might make my play experience more comfortable, and that I might hate the basic UI, is a thing. Knowing that I'd have to go through content to get that UI, and that it could possibly be a random drop, puts a huge damper on the idea of the game. And when I think of what I'm probably going to be given at the beginning, like just imagining what I'm going to be given at the beginning in terms of UI versus what I could be using, I'm sitting here thinking, this is off-putting. Like to have to go through content.
I think you're overthinking it. I think at the beginning you're going to start with a health bar and an inventory bag, and that's it, right? And what you're going to unlock later as you go is maybe like a pet system, maybe like a thing that opens like a customization for the look of your equipment, things like that. I don't think it's going to be as the way you're thinking, where you're going to have core parts of your UI that need to be found in the game.
it's important also. Let's keep in mind before we get carried away with the UI that this is an interview that is Google translated, and I think they're still talking in a very general, abstract sense. These things aren't finalized. So I mean, this is all pure speculation, right? It's also possible that this is being what's the word, mistranslated. That the context from the Korean to English is giving us a wrong idea.
And
Yeah.
So gotta be careful.
Just to wrap up thoughts on that and move to my next.
Mhm.
just looking at the UI and the screenshots or in the video here, it doesn't look usable to me. Like, not even usable. I don't know what any of these buttons do. Like, look at it.
I mean, like,
Like,
it
looks minimalistic and great to me.
yeah, to me, it just looks
But
like
minimalistic doesn't mean good. You have to have minimalism with purpose, with something that's easily defined, something that you look at it and you know immediately what it does. That's the point of minimalism. And I don't see that with this UI.
I'm excited. I'm more excited for this than I am for Lost Ark or Lineage Eternal because I generally know what I'm getting with those two games. This looks like potentially a whole new world.
But to my second point, right? So people are going to make most of the content, is what the implication is. But a lot of the content creation, we've seen it in videos already, is based around a pseudo programming system that is mostly drag and drop rather than typing things in. I don't think that people are going to have the patience to learn how to basically program the things they're making. I don't think it's going to appeal to a large audience. And the problem with that is that I don't think that we're going to see a lot of very well-made content within that, because not a whole lot of people are going to take the time to learn how to make it well. And that could very well kill it.
What about people made an emulator on Minecraft, didn't they? Like all these crazy things, and it's like a pretty
computer within Minecraft.
Yeah,
but these are a small subsection of people.
Yeah, if you have enough people, they can crowdsource the content.
But the amount of content that's actually good and makes you want to stay is going to be so minimal that you're going to have gone through it in a short amount of time.
But we don't know that. I mean, it's impossible to know that right now. I mean, I don't want to dismiss it.
But history says that that's going to be what happens.
But games like Minecraft pull it off. They pull it off well. The custom maps on StarCraft, any map makers typically pull it pretty well. Neither of us know. I can't say for sure.
But there's a difference.
Yes.
But there's a difference between the content in StarCraft and Minecraft, which is meant to be replayable, and like a dungeon in Peria Chronicles, where you're just going to mostly just be one and done. You're going to go through it, you're going to experience it, you're going to be done with it, unless it has a specific drop that you need.
But we don't know even what kind of game it is. If it's going to be like that much of an MMORPG where you are just getting the content and leaving. Maybe it could just be I have no idea what kind of game it is beyond some basic principles.
But in theory, do you not see what I'm saying?
The dungeons will not be repeatable, but perhaps there'll be other content like farming or mini games or house building that'll keep people coming back. It's too little known yet, but we'll see.
And again, I'm just looking at this from what I'm seeing right now. Mm-hmm. This is what concerns me, and this is why I'm not too.
That's fair. That's fair.
And you guys are always telling me to speculate more. I'm speculating.
No, it's fine. That's fine. I'm excited, but I can understand why people aren't either. I'm just eager for something different, and this potentially could be it.
And like I said, if I can't just look at the interface and know what it does, it's off-putting.
All right.
To each their own.
What else we got, boys? Any interesting shit of the week?
We have some news about Crytek.
Oh.
Yeah, there was some financial issues.
I actually did not have a chance to look into this. I only saw the headline and thought, oh boy. So, Aaron, would you care to describe what's going on at Crytek?
Well, they had the same exact issue a few months back, where actually since 2014 apparently, where there are a lot of employees posting on social media that they're not getting paid. They're getting late payments on their salary. And this is surprising to me because Crytek is a big company. Their engine is used in lots of big games, including Star Citizen. So I don't know what's going on exactly.
The CEO is Turkish. Can't trust him. Don't trust the Turks.
The founders of Crytek are 3 Turkish brothers, so...
Now we know why they're doing so poorly. I guess that's the end of that conversation.
That's unfortunate. Basically, they're missing their payroll. They're not paying their employees right now. They're waiting on, I guess, money to be able to afford to pay them. But that's kind of scummy. No matter what, your employees need to get paid. Even if the company's doing poorly, you gotta. It's just unfair to tell your employees you're not getting paid this week. Just.
I do think it's funny that they announced they were transitioning to create free-to-play games, and that did not entirely happen. Back in 2013, I guess that plan didn't work out. I do know they released 2 virtual reality games, and I've played one called The Climb.
Well, I remember back in 2013 when I saw that they were transitioning to free-to-play games. I'm like, they're done for. This isn't going to work. And I imagine that they had hoped that they could survive off of sales for their engine, the CryEngine. But the problem is that that's a premium engine in a way that like no other engine is right now. Like Unity, Unreal Engine, they make themselves accessible to indies and everyone else. But CryEngine, even though it has like a monthly subscription option, in the larger scheme of things, they're still holding on to their premium business model. And I don't think they're going to survive if they don't do something to make it more accessible, especially like a free version that you can publish games with without any stipulations, like you can with Unreal Engine and Unity. And the other thing is they have Warface, right? Okay, so in the 3 years since they announced that, they have Warface, and that's it. They have another game, a MOBA.
Pretty well.
They have a MOBA in development called Arena of Fate, and it's been in development basically since they announced this. It's still not here. They have one game that they're relying on right now, and I just don't think it's going to make it because it's not League of Legends, it's not Crossfire. It's not a game that's going to help them survive.
All right, guys. I'm going to call it right now. They're having big financial problems, and here's how I know. If you go out Crytek.com, the first thing you see on their home site for a gaming company, not their new games, not their current launch games, not their engine, you see the Crytek shop where they're trying to sell you t-shirts. They're trying to sell you t-shirts, phone cases, and what looks like posters. How is this on the front page of a gaming site?
That means they're desperate. They need the last thing they can sell is the t-shirts. That's
oh my
cringy.
god, how hilarious is that?
Oh my god.
It's not good. Not a good sign there.
On the Warface, I mean, I'm looking at their player base. They peak at 4,600 every day, and they're about 2,500 now. So for a free-to-play FPS game, it's one of the more popular ones on Steam. You know, a lot of games have killed to have 4,600 peak concurrent users in a 24-hour period. I mean, it's not gonna. I mean, they have a ton of employees. They have, this one game cannot possibly carry a big company like Warface. If it was a small studio, that's a different story. That is unfortunate to see like these guys having issues, but what can you do?
I'll make a prediction right now. Amazon will be purchasing Crytek. They're gonna sell. They're gonna sell. And I based that on the whole engine thing. Basically, Amazon licensed the CryEngine and just renamed it Lumberyard for some reason, and made that free. So Lumberyard is free, and all Lumberyard is CryEngine, with built into AWS, which is Amazon's cloud computing.
Did they have some games coming out? Amazon?
Yeah, 3 games.
Wasn't there like a Heroes like water polo or
Sports MOBA.
How's that? Is there any info on that game that we got, or is it just same?
We got a video.
Yeah, there's a video of it.
It's not from the perspective of the players.
Oh, I see.
Yo, this Arena of Fate game looks so hilarious. Look at the characters. You can play Robin Hood, Tesla, Cleopatra.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Fate, pretty much.
But yeah, exactly. Because she was saying that in Fate, one of the appeals is the general appeal is that you have all these characters that anyone can relate with because they're historical figures and legendary characters. So I guess Arena of Fate is like, hey, Fate Grand Order did it, or Fate did that. Why don't we try doing the same thing? So they're trying to,
It's smart.
I think it's smart too.
Smite did that too. Smite did that too.
Yeah, but
Smite, it was relatable. I guess a lot less because they're not like there's no historical. It's mostly like just legends. But it's an interesting way to make it so your game is compatible across different regions.
Yo, Arena of Fate's dead. I'm calling it. I mean, their YouTube channel has 2 videos over a year ago.
Hold up.
Maybe they turned Arena of Fate into that new that Amazon game because like the map kind of looks like if you scroll down.
The last playtest was in May. Wait, no, I lied. August. August 31st is the last time I got an email about a playtest. So it's still being worked on.
I don't know, man. Who's asking for this? Who's like, you know what? We need more MOBAs with towers, same spiel.
A manager who doesn't know what he's doing. That's who asked for it. A manager can't afford to pay his staff.
I don't know. It just seems crazy to me.
Their fate is sealed, boys. Their fate is sealed. I mean, I don't know. The MOBA market is the toughest.
Have you guys seen any gameplay for this game? I'm showing some on
yeah, there is
stream.
some. There is some.
It doesn't even look like what's this is just why would I play this over like Heroes of the Storm, Dota League? Like, what is going on? Just a bunch of creeps going down the lane slowly. There's a guy beating on them. Like, what is the point of this?
The point is to make money. They're like, hey, look, all these MOBAs are making League and Dota and HOTS and Smite are minting money. Let's get in on that. You know,
Well, I mean,
that was
at least things like Smite is trying a new twist on it. You know, Paragon,
Yeah.
Even Gigantic, a new twist on it. Like,
This looks very generic
This
twist.
looks so generic. This looks sad. This looks like
Generic, but they got Tesla. What are you talking about? That's not generic. Everyone loves Tesla.
Frankenstein isn't cute. It's sad.
You got a little bit of Robin Hood, though.
Frankenstein's
She's
also
cute.
not historical, so what are they doing?
No, it's Fate has Frankenstein too.
Oh, okay.
Legends and stuff like that.
Somebody asked, is that a soccer field? It does look like the previous area was on a soccer field.
I don't know. This just looks
Such
very
a strange concept.
This looks very plain Jane to me.
Poor plain Jane. Poor Jane's everywhere.
Is this actually the one that I was thinking of with the ball and then you throw it? Is that
No,
what this is?
that was the Amazon one that you're talking about, not
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that one looks that
Well-
one has the same thing. That one has heroes too, like from what was that game called? Does anyone know?
I forgot.
Amazon Mobile.
What is this? A
Um,
World of Lordcraft.
Canaris Mansion, I thought was pretty hilarious. It's a Chinese browser game that stole our assets from World of Warcraft. It's just hilarious that they do stuff like that all the time.
Wow.
China has a habit of making laws. Like last year, they announced they would crack down on games that are breaking copyright, and then not doing anything about it. And they didn't. They did not do anything.
Pretty sure that was
World of Lordcraft. That's fucking bold, dude. I give him props for that. He's like not fucking around, dude.
now
That's a
see
real Chinese knockoff right there.
Well, maybe one day we'll do a video for
Breakaway. Someone said
World of
Breakaway.
Lordcraft.
There's a lot of good Chinese games like this.
All right. Well,
Take it.
that's well, I guess we'll just leave it there, and perhaps for those of you listening on Twitch, we can watch the World of Lordcraft trailer together in the overtime show, and those of you on
baby.
YouTube will be missing out on that
Here-
lovely content.
Omer, real quick. Akaziya posted the game. It's this game.
Breakaway, yeah, Breakaway. We'll
Give
say-
us
we'll-
an alpha.
we'll-
Give us an alpha.
We'll save it for the post game. So
Okay, that's it
Alright.
for now,
Yeah,
watching,
YouTube.
guys. Stick
Take
around if
care.
you're on Twitch. Otherwise, peace.
Peace.
Later.
Yeah.